have a confession about last week. My name is over there on that board. And I know you told us to write down the name that the Holy Spirit gave us. I felt the Holy Spirit did give me like 3 names, and you told us to just list one. I did not list that one name. I went with another name. So I'm gonna have to go over there and change who I listed.
You want to know what it was.
Okay. My struggle has been, and it's been me, I've reached out the Holy Spirit has always put this person on my heart and my mind to reach out to, and I've done it every time. And it seems like every time I do it, the rift gets larger. And I'm just like, I don't know if I can go through that heart pain again. Initially, we hadn't been speaking for at least 10 years. Now it's been 5 years, since 3506 Edwards Road. And now, it's 5 years. It was 10, now it's 5, and I'm just like, we don't even speak. And so we don't have conversation. We're related, but we don't even have conversation for each other. So I don't even know how this is gonna work. So I'm scared to even have my faith about that is little to zero. Because it's not about that person, but it's more about me. I'm just like, God, I don't want to subject myself to any more hurt or pain. And I know I'm good with them. Meaning I am trying to be good with them. I don't know what I've done. I ask every single time, but it has not been successful the way that I think it should be. So therefore, I have not put that person's name down as somebody I want to reach for Christ.
Okay. Who's responsible for this?
Well, there go my answers. Well, he is.
That's the shift we have to make. And I'm glad April said that tonight, because I need that to be, I need y'all to take some of this pressure off of you. Who's responsible for drawing?
The Father, Holy Spirit.
Jesus said, nobody can come to me except he is drawn by whom? The Father. Right? You need to talk to him. If he gives you the name, tell him that I'm ready. I'm ready. But I need you to set it up. And the scripture that keeps coming to mind, that's rolling around in my head right now, again, is Hebrews 1:14. Again, we talked about that before, about ministering angels. That the angels are, April, you have angels that are assigned to you, that are to minister on your behalf. What makes that so effective is that our angels don't have history with our people.
Thank God.
You got history that you have to overcome. The angels sound like your conscience.
Wow.
Get that. Because you listen to it, you hear your conscience. So the messengers of God, and that's why we have, the Bible calls it spiritual warfare, is because angels, whether they be angels or now fallen angels, which you're not called demons, they still have the same methodology of reaching us, and that is convincing us that it's our own thinking. They speak to you in thoughts. They're messengers. That's what angels literally means, are those messengers. And so God says they're assigned to you. You're in charge. We just don't send them nowhere. You haven't been telling them what their assignment is. So you got employees showing up, sitting around the break room because the boss won't tell them what to do. And all you got to do is make sure that what you're requesting of them is in alignment with what?
The word.
The word of God, the desires of the Father. They're not going to rebel against God. But angels know that God desires that all men be what? Saved. And so if you employ them for that effort, they're ready. Go before me. Go before me. Soften hearts. Prepare ears. Prepare. And see what's amazing, this might trip you out a little bit, is that you gotta remember that we deal with a Kairos God and not a Chronos God. Somebody tell me what's the difference with that?
Time? You said we serve a who?
A
Kairos?
Kairos God, not a Chronos God.
Oh.
Opportunity, time. Kairos means it's not trapped in time. And so here's what's crazy about Kairos. Chronos is subject to time. We're going to talk about time in just a minute. But Kairos says this, is Wednesday, October, what, the 9th? is Wednesday, October the 9th. I can tell God I'm ready to send forth angels to prepare the way. God can go back to October 1st. So you think you're setting something in motion from this point on. In reality, God has his way with time.
Amen.
My God.
Amen.
And so you think, well, shoot, if I start now, I don't know, I'm gonna call them, I don't know if I should call them tomorrow, because you think that the angels only start talking to them tonight.
Wow.
But the angels have the ability to begin the conversation last week, last month.
Amen.
Amen.
And you give them permission, go back to September.
Mm.
I know, it's blowing y'all's mind. Now just imagine had you understood that all your life. It's in the book, Hebrews 1:15, Hebrews 1:14. Write this down, go look at it. Now they ain't listen to no foolishness. Don't be sending them somewhere. Because you're the surrogate boss. You ain't the real boss.
Amen.
Makes sense? So creation responds to the voice of the Father. Our job is to sound like the Father. But I get that. And who else was assigned somebody that's difficult, that you perceive to be difficult? Hallelujah. And you're like, man, that sounds like you, God, because I would have never. I would never pick it. But the thing I got to get you to understand, we're going to go ahead and deal with this now, we may get back to it later, is that your greatest power in what we're asking you to become, not to do. I set it up like it's a 90-day challenge, but we're changing our culture. Your power is not in how convincing your conversation is. Your power is in how convincing your life is. And so you're going to offer them your life. This is not a drive-by where you can talk them into coming to church, they show up, you check it off. No, it's deeper, y'all. We're truly trying to obey God, and that God is saying, I need you to have relationship. I need you to have relationship. And that's why he's giving y'all some people that are seemingly difficult, because again, y'all have forgotten how difficult you were. Amen. You've been saved a little bit. You got the little hellion you used to be. But no better way to show change than to be put in an environment where your change will be challenged. Because if you change, it don't matter how they act. You're going to be consistent. All of this is dependent upon your ability to be consistent. If you get in and dip out, you're inconsistent. So you got to be a pursuer. I'm pursuing. Me and Quan was going back and forth on Facebook. I am pursuing my person. Took them a couple of days to even respond to me. Like, wow, Lord. But then they finally did. So now he's in the tug of war. But that's okay. He ain't got to come to church next week, the week after that. He don't even come to church this month, but he's going to get here. And so I'm going to go to him and hang out with him.
There you go.
And I showed up not wanting anything. I showed up offering me. Because God told me what he wanted to do. And so I texted him. I said, has God been talking to me about it? And I was like, okay, I'm going to stick my neck out there. And I said exactly what I heard. And it took 3 days for him to respond. I was like, look at you. Got me out here pretending I'm a prophet. And then he finally responded. He said, hey, man, I'm sorry it took a minute, but yes to your question. It's okay. And then his wife texts me privately. She says, he got your message. And yes to your question.
Wow.
And I said, let me help you. So that's all I want to do. And I said, I understand you live 45 minutes away from me. I said, but we drove further to get in trouble. We sure did. We drove further to get in same. Because relationship is required. Anybody else? Before you start.
Just let you know that I did just text that person that I was supposed to reach out to. So I did take that first step and reach out, and I started off with an apology to say I should have reached out to you sooner. And I was very honest to say that because of my fear of you not accepting what I had to say, I didn't reach out sooner. So I apologize, but I love you, and I would love to talk with you and some other stuff. So I did take that first step.
Way to lead. Way to lead. Anybody else? Got something for yourself? Y'all all right? In this Episcopal church? We good? Let's talk, man. All right. Empty vessels again. This message is a shift, and I don't expect the shift to be easy. And so I'll go first. And I'll blaze the trail and drag y'all kicking and screaming. But we've got to return to get in the vein of God. So, and that thing has to be primary over the things we're trying to achieve. And I got to get that back into our hearts, because I know I've motivated and pushed you to be righteous and to do the things God's called you to. So you got businesses and ministries and this, and go to school and all this kind of stuff. But the reality of it is that I still got to give him what he wants first. And what he wants are empty vessels. He's building your life. Listen to me now. He's building up your life to make him attractive. And you can't lose sight of that. And that ought to hold your reins a little bit when you want to act up, act out. You got to remember, he's trying to make you attracted to somebody who's considering him. And so he wants to bring attention to you. Does that make sense to you? And so we read the text, and we're not going to go back and read all the chapter, all the verses to this, but you remember the wedding scene. And there's some nuggets in here that we didn't get to really delve into on Sunday because we got time limits. But Bible study, we can be very nugget focused. And so there's some stuff I want to talk to you about with this. So this thing kicks off, and I love the humanity of Christ that we sometimes overlook. You got to imagine, put yourself in the position of Jesus Christ. He's finally launching his ministry. At what age did Jesus launch his ministry?
31.
So, how long did he know who he was?
His whole life.
Whole life. Some of y'all can't wait a week. Some of y'all want to run out and do stuff, and you ain't even close to being ready yet, because you're not even disciplined enough with the small things. But Christ waited 30 years. Picture that. Seeing stuff, watching people die, watching all of the stuff happen that he knew he could do something about, but he had to wait. And so I would think that as the first chapter unfolds and you hear him, John talk about who he was, but to go back and look at chapter 1, he's now starting to get his disciples together. He meets Andrew. Andrew, we don't really talk that much about, but Andrew was a great evangelist. It was Andrew who brought Peter to Jesus, because that was Peter's brother. And so he has about four disciples that are with him. And so while he's in this whole process of recruiting, finally getting ready to go forth, and came up out of the water, the dove and descended down upon him. He's ready to get this ministry. He ain't got but 3 years to get this ministry. And up on the calendar pops this wedding. What would y'all do? Your mama say, you going to the wedding with me?
Mail the card.
Mail the card off. Send a pigeon with a note tied to it. You would feel different. That would be a torn position, wouldn't you think? But here's why. Here's what I need y'all to understand. Is really that point right here, and I want to talk a little bit about it. The lessons that build up your calling are hidden in your life. Life matures you, teaches you, clears things up. Oftentimes, you can become so obsessed with the thing that you thought you had to do that you forget that God is already steps ahead of you. He's already impregnated your life with the things that you need. He needs you to watch this, to live and be observant. Because I promise you, Because you make this thing so much harder than it has to be because you think you got to now go build an entirely different life. Trust me, God knows who he called. God knows where he has set the purpose. God knows what family he was going to put you in. He knows all the stuff you was going to go through. But the purpose of the callings, that last little thing that I'm telling you, is that the calling's job, along with you helping other people, is to make sense of your life.
Sir, say that again.
That's his job. While you're helping other people, you're being empowered, because it's making sense of your life. And see, the thing that's holding you back is not your ability, it's the questions that haven't been answered. And so the questions that haven't been answered about your life is calling you to second guess your calling, second guess decisions. You're not moving like you should move because you haven't figured out your life. But you don't realize that the calling is there to provide you with the cliff notes of your life. This is why you went through this. But you could be so busy that you stop doing life. You don't go to weddings. You don't come to Bible study. You don't stay after church. You don't talk to folks, not realizing that God has the message impregnated in the conversation you were destined to have in the corner, and it wasn't even in the sermon. But you're trying to avoid it so you can get back and work on your thing.
Sir.
A king that you might have? A king that you might have? Why are you avoiding your... God is saying, listen, I got it in your life. Keep living. Keep living. And all thy ways do what? Acknowledge him. And in all thy ways, acknowledge him. Acknowledge him. Translation, wherever you go, there he is.
Yes, he is.
There he is. That ought to be, there he is, right there, in that conversation. There he is. Mindful of you. Orchestrating your Thursday already. And he has, I have laid some goodness in this thing, Moses. If you just follow me, you'll see my goodness. I'm over there already with a lesson in there for you. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Because again, if you would have been too busy for a miracle, if you'd have been too busy trying to recruit folk, yeah, too busy trying to build a ministry, too busy trying to repair this or fix this instead of let my day. What did you say? Quit worrying about tomorrow. With enough stuff for you to deal with. I got you covered. Because you keep making this thing that I gave you to liberate you, you're using it now to make you anxious.
Wow. Sir.
I gave you this call in to liberate you. Now you got to get it done. And so now you're more anxious about your relationship with God than you were about the life he called you out of. And freedom. You just took your stress and applied it to your relationship with God. Am I making sense?
Yes, you are.
So I've said, listen to what he's saying. He said, I've set you free. Just find me. I'm in your life. I'm in your wisdom. I promise you. And I made sure I dropped something in there for you so you. But if you're so busy with your head down trying to build something, watch this. That's true. You're not building. You're not building anything. You're assembling. Which means, if I say you're assembling, that means you're looking for parts. Thursday, so I might want to be watchful for God so I can get the part instead of me trying to concoct something myself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am I making sense? Because what's so funny about it is that we think that we apply this anxiety to ourselves because we're trying to get it.
Yeah.
Trying to get it. Trying to get it. And reality of the truth is, you actually slowing it down because you're missing parts. It would actually happen quicker. Because that's really what God was trying to teach us when he was talking about how Solomon built the temple. That it could be constructed with no hammer, no chisel, no nothing. Because all he had to do was what? Assemble the parts. That's all he did. His father left parts. And so all Solomon had to do was assemble the parts. And the parts were so that they had to just slide. You stressed out because you swear that the square piece is going to fit in this
Come on now.
round hole. Come hell or high water, this is going to work, because this is how I saw it working. As opposed to trusting that God has, here's the peace for today. Is that what you meant, Jesus, when you said asking for your,
Daily.
we still asking for a month's supply.
That's good.
Does it make sense, right? Because we don't really believe he that mindful. He's so mindful, you got me. You got me. So I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna fight. And then I'll attach whatever the day brings to the process of this plan. Because you got me. Does it make sense? You have your hand back up?
Yes, sir. You said the calling that he gave me is to liberate me and not cause me anxiety. But so many times it feels like the calling thrusts me into a place that I'm not ready for.
Yes.
And I know that it's not based on my readiness, but at the same time, I feel like there's these expectations. You have to deal with the expectations of the people while also trying to manage your own life. And it causes me to try to be somewhere that I'm not. So I'm
Right.
trying to figure out how to balance that.
Right. Here's the problem. You brought that expectation with you.
What now?
You brought that expectation with you. It didn't come with the calling. Before he called you, you already had accepted the fact that people expect stuff from you. And so he just brought that with you. And so when God puts a mandate on your life that's tremendous, you immediately think that the expectation is now heightened too. But truth be told, they don't even know what God told you. But you acting like they got expectations because they were party to the conversation, don't know what God said to you.
Come on. That's good.
And here's how God prove it. When you try to tell folk, they look at you crazy.
Yes, sir.
And you try to tell the folk that's closest to you, and they still look at you crazy. So if the folks closest to you didn't hear God with you, why are you dragging people's expectations of a conversation they don't even know is taking place? Does that make sense to you? But we do that because we've been conditioned to do that. And so God said, hey, please be anxious. He said, hey, Tom, that spirit of fear.
I didn't give it to you.
I give it to you.
Hey,
So
sir.
you brought, so in other words, I brought that with me.
Oh,
And so God in his power was, he knows you brought it with you, and so he'll let you bring it so he can heal you from it. Because you got to realize that I can do this no matter what I think they expect, but truth be told, when I have conversation with them, they were clueless what I thought. Matter of fact, you think people think about you more than they do. Y'all want to cool it to you real quick? How many of y'all got so much going on in your life, you ain't really got time to be worrying about really what's going on in somebody else's house? All right. But you somehow thinking that everybody worried about your house. But that's the end. People get distracted because if you get distracted, you can't find the peace. You can't find the P-I-E-C-E, you can't find the P-E-A-C-E. You can't find the peace.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you need the P-E-A-C-E to be able to see the P-I-E-C-E. Am I making sense?
Yes, you are.
So you all flustered and frustrated and you stumping over pieces. That's why hindsight is, I saw the piece I missed. So the piece was there. What were you doing to miss it? Yeah, man. Yeah. And so please understand this whole idea about righteousness. God didn't call you out of life. Listen how I say this. God didn't call you out of life to be righteous. He wants you to find your righteousness in your life.
Yes, sir.
well,
Say it like this. God didn't ask you to leave your life to find out who you ought to be. He says, do what you ought to do in your life.
Yes, sir.
And what's going to be amazing to you is that it's going to blow your mind how much your life is set up for you to be who you ought to be.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
It's already set up for it. You've been the imposter in your life.
What, sir? What?
The moment you get a glimpse of who you are, you see your life needs you,
You've been the imposter in your own life.
don't you?
Hashtag.
Now you
T-shirt.
now you have to deal with some other stuff, some other stressful stuff. Like now you starting to worry about people's expectations and responsibilities and all the other kind of stuff. But your life is perfectly suited for you.
Oh my
Your
God.
family is perfectly suited for your calling. Your co-workers are perfectly suited for your calling. You ain't got to move nowhere, change no job, do none of that. It's perfectly suited for your calling. It's been waiting on you to get it. Am I making sense? Doing all this other crazy stuff, trying to be significant. What would have happened if you just would have been you?
Whoa, sir.
So God, you that mindful of me?
Sir.
You that mindful of me? You said you were, I just didn't believe it. But now, I'm starting to see. I ain't had to go nowhere. I didn't have to go nowhere. I just had to show up.
I didn't have to go nowhere.
My problem is I'm hesitant in showing up.
You can go nowhere.
I sent my representative. And I got many of them. I'll be whatever you need me to be.
Sir.
T-shirt.
T-shirts.
But the thing, and you're right, but religion teaches you gotta be somebody else. Less than highly favored. You're not good enough just to be. So that's why you put on all these masks.
Yeah. Yeah. That's still us battling a misunderstanding. Like I told you guys before, we got this stuff that God has given us that if you don't understand it, it can be perverted. Some of your greatest things, if you don't understand what you got, it can be misused and abused by you. And so God's ultimate desire for all of us is that we ultimately come together and be fitly joined together to be a body. So what's woven in your DNA is a desire for connection. It ain't good for man to be alone. That's woven in you. And so whenever we go into an environment, that part of us kicks in. And it kicks in, and if you don't know who you are before you get to the environment, you'll become what you think the environment needs you to be. And so if the environment is one of those things that says blessed and highly favored man of God, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter whether it be church or the club. We can cuss over there, and we can be blessed and highly favored over here because we've done it. Raised all type of sand on Saturday. You were deep and spooky come Sunday because you switched environments.
Yes, sir.
Because I want connectivity.
Right.
I want and the reason I want connectivity because I'm showing. Watch this now. You ain't gonna like it, but I'm showing up as a taker.
Hey.
I need you to accept me, so you'll give it to me.
T-shirt.
I don't realize that God has created in me is to show up in an environment to be a giver. But I don't know. I can't give if I don't know who I am. So I always show up like an empty vessel, ready to receive. That's why I got this succotash inside of me. I got this whole mixture of stuff inside of me so I can pull from whatever I need for wherever I am. As opposed to being who I am no matter where you place me.
Yes, sir.
And if I learn how to be who I am wherever you place me, no matter the environment is, my sons and daughters come to me.
Yes, sir. Amen.
I am a leader. They're drawn to me. If I got to morph into something else, I am a follower. I'll force myself into whatever mode you need me to be just so I feel accepted. The whole time I am in torment on the inside because I know I'm playing small. And I know I'm being less. Because the thing is, I cannot unsee or unhear the word of God. And so when he begins to tell me how great I am to him, and then I go try to be less than just so you'll smile at me,
Talk, sir.
just so you invite me to stuff. Places you got uninvited from were places you didn't belong. It's just that simple. Just that, the places you got uninvited from were not places you belong. But the moment, I hear you, Lord. Why do you go to Bojangles? It ain't deep. I ain't been deep. I'm not been deep. I'm gonna show you something. Why do you go to Bojangles?
Caesar fries.
Chicken? Why?
I like it.
How do you know they do that?
Well, I tasted it.
Because they know who they are. They don't advertise pizza. Right? And so they can be on the same block with a Pizza Hut and be all right.
Right.
And not feel rejected because they see in the Pizza Hut parking lot, because they still got people who want. And so who you are, your little light, their little yellow light and red letters, your little light should be shining, advertising to folk what you get when you pull in.
Teach, sir.
But our problem is, all we got in the kitchen is equipment to make chicken. And folks show up one pizza, there you on the back room trying to figure out how to make pizza. Because I just need y'all, just don't leave me, don't leave me, don't leave me. You here, stay with me, stay. I'll figure out how to make some pizza somehow. And I'll weaken my ability to do what I'm good at. So folks showing up on chicken, but my staff too busy trying to figure out how to make pizza. And so we missing the mark. Because I want everybody to like me. No, I just want people who want chicken. And trust God, he'll raise up people who are good at it. Am I making sense? Think about that when you're riding home tonight. You see Bojangles on the side. I dare you. Go in there and say, I just need, can I get a pepperoni? Just do it for the fun. Can I get a pepperoni pizza? And see what they say to you. So what lessons are you missing out on while you're trying so hard to think only about your ministry, your job, your whatever? You're so busy trying to focus on that. When God is just calling you through your life. He's going to make sense of it all. Because the problem is, thank you, Lord. Oh, Holy Spirit. Wow. I just heard in my spirit, the thing you rush past is coming back to haunt you. You're trying to rush past the stuff in your life to get to your place of destiny.
It did, it really did.
And it would just circle around and come on. Oh, you're not going to deal with me? That must mean I can come with you. So it's nothing more disturbing to get to the place you want to get to, the place and be broken.
That's real, sir.
Because if I get there, I got responsibility there. But I'm all jacked up because I rushed past my moment in my life to fix me. Y'all feeling me?
Yes, sir.
So God, daily bread.
So God, what?
Produce me at your pace. Daily bread. Produce me. Just give me what I need for today. And I won't miss it. Trina?
When you say the pace, I think about Joshua and, God giving him instructions on walking around the wall of Jericho. And he was so ready to knock down this wall and so ready to do what God had called him to do. But God gave him specific instructions before. And as soon as he followed the instructions, the last day he walked around the wall 7 times. And, he got his army to shout. And then as soon as they did that, as soon as they finished off the instructions, the wall fell.
Absolutely.
And, that made me think, it's a pace for grace, pace of grace. Follow his pace and stride instead of strive. Walk instead of run, because when you run, you miss what you're supposed to see. When you
Absolutely.
run, you get distracted by things. When you try to arrive too early, you miss the lesson.
You missed the process. And we really want to circumvent the process. Because God was developing something different in Joshua. What was Joshua known as?
Courageous leader.
Fire.
These hands.
Yes, sir.
So if you good at fighting, how you solve all issues?
Knuckle up.
You see something resisting you? We ain't got to talk. We ain't got to talk.
Yes, sir.
You don't know. You don't know who you done rolled up on. We ain't talking about it.
Yes, sir.
They ain't told you. And so God puts him in a battle and says, change. It's like he's doing you.
Yes, sir.
Every time God wants to mature you, your dominant thing, he says, suppress it.
Yep.
But Lord, you know, I'm good at this back then. But where I'm taking you, I need you to trust worship, Joshua.
Sir.
How you going to tell a fighter to worship?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll holler at you. But he said, walk around and just worship.
Sir.
I mean, come on, be Joshua. Some of y'all are. Look, because some of us grew up where you had to.
Yeah.
You had to. The bus stop? Come on. Oh my God, the bus stop was a trip. Depends on what hood you grew up in, the bus stop was.
Yeah.
You dressed for the bus stop. So-and-so said he gonna get you.
Knock him out first.
Let me see what I can wear. See, my baby don't know nothing about that. They got dropped off. They was in the car like
Mine don't either.
bus stop. Every time I drive past the bus stop when I go to Spartanburg, I seriously do. But right there, because the bus stop was there. This doctor's office right here beside piece of it. You had to be ready. Because that's all I did. And so I'm conditioned that I resolve conflict one way. And God says, it ain't just you now, you're leading people. And I need them to honor me. So walk around. Then go sit down. So y'all don't picture that. I mean, y'all you just read like, you walked around? No. You're going to take the city, get up, walk around it one time. Go sit down.
Yes, sir.
Can you imagine what that must have felt like?
Passing.
Man, I could be knocking at your down. And then the last day he said, what? No, he said 7. Walk around 7 times. Some of y'all getting anxious just thinking about it right now.
Shoot, them pocket passes are nice though. You know what I'm saying? You give passes, but you get passes too though.
I was like, what this show I talking about? Keep booking it out for me, okay? I was looking at the knees like, interpreter? What? Pocket pass? Like my hot pocket? I was like, I got you, bro. And then he says, yeah, just do something. Do something that that does not call for your might.
Oh my God.
Well,
Because the calling starts to teach you not by power, not by might, but by my spirit. And that's the hard adjustment because I'm used to getting it
yes, sir.
by me.
Yes, sir.
You know, if I can't figure it out, I can't have it.
That's real. Yes, sir.
And he's like, I'm trying to teach you this divine partnership.
Man.
But we don't deserve it, do we? We don't deserve God to do stuff for you. Right? That's the problem. I gotta do it myself. That's why you're anxious. That's why the calling seems too big for you. Because it is. It requires the miraculous. It requires the angel speaking on your behalf. It requires people who don't like you all of a sudden wanting to serve you, and your enemy shall be your. How that's gonna happen, Jesus? Now you trying to figure out how to be nice to them. Let me see. Let me figure out how to make them like me. It's like I've been working on that. Sam?
I have a question. We were talking about being patient and all of that.
As she takes a deep sigh.
And about the 90-day challenge where God put someone on our heart and we're supposed to try to, bring them to Christ. What? And I'm just thinking, I was like, well, was that someone that was just testing me? I know this person that cares deeply about me. They came to me and they was like, well, I'm gonna do better. I just need you to trust me. I'm looking like, well, we've been doing this all my life. Ever since I've been born, we've been doing this. And you want me to change now to just trust me and all this good stuff. And I'm sitting here and you are talking about all this. I'm saying, well, am I supposed to give that person another chance because they came to me? And I ain't go to them, they came to me.
That's your person?
It's not. It's not. And that's the thing I was thinking about. I was like, well, they came to me to help them. And I was like, okay, how can I help you? But they can't tell me how I can help them. They just, I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I'm looking like, now God, okay, I put somebody on here. That's who I thought it was. But now this person is right here. And I'm looking like, I'm really confused about it because I'm like, nah, should I just be like, okay, I'm gonna deal with that situation another day. And I'm just trying to think, is that a stepping stone that, is just trying to come in my way that I can't see past? I'm kind of confused.
You asking me? There it is right there. and don't feel bad about that because we do that. Because I want y'all to learn this. It's not simple, but if you can remember, God, what is this?
Yeah.
And watch what happens. Because if He sent you there, that person there, this could be a distraction, or it could be a means to the person. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what it is. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm God's favorite cousin. I can tell you that's I'm not.
Okay.
But what I need you to do is not act, I'm not going to act like a middleman standing between you and God. I'm going to say, go ask Him. Matter of fact, you can ask Him now. You might know before you leave here tonight. I'm amazed at how much God is willing to reveal. He's just waiting for a question. Ask of me, Jeremiah 33. Ask of me, and I'll show you things you could not even imagine. We think you have not because you ask not. It's always about stuff.
Yeah.
I need wisdom more than I need stuff.
Yeah.
Because if I get wisdom, I can get stuff. But I can get stuff and be ignorant and lose stuff. Then be broken because I lost stuff. But if I got wisdom, I can get stuff. So if society takes my stuff, I remember how I got stuff. So I ain't married to the stuff. I can get stuff again.
Yes, sir.
So I'm still free.
Amen.
It makes sense? Ask Him.
It does.
What is this? Manna. That's what manna means. Manna fell from heaven. What is this? Ask Him. Ask Him. All right. Jesus told us that my hour's about up. So let me speed up. Told his mama, my hour has not come yet. And this part blessed me, and I hope it blesses you. And he meant that he was serious about and stuff in terms of what he was called to do. That first bullet point says this: time is restricted until purpose shows up. What do I mean by that? Until you got a clue. Well, let's go back to little you, young you, child you. Your line that everybody said, I can't wait.
Without bills.
Right. Now you realize how ignorant you were. But back then, I can't wait. Because I understood how, even as a child, you understand how time works. If I'm just subject to time, I got to wait till time brings it to me. So time is restrictive to me. I can't move like I want to do in time if that's all, if I haven't learned how to take dominion over time. Most of us spend our whole life with time really less. And time won't let you have it until it's time. But what's amazing about purpose is that, what purpose does, see if y'all catch it. If I don't make sense to you, please stop because we've got to get this right to you. Purpose converts time into a tool that you now have to manage. Before it managed you. Once I know what I'm called to do, now I got to become proficient at managing mine. It's now mine. For me to walk this thing out, I got to begin to maneuver my life, remove and add things. Whatever I remove frees up. Whatever I add takes up. Now I got to be able to manage it when it's always been managing me. Does that make sense? And so now my restrictions are starting to fall off. I'm not waiting for a season anymore. The speed at which I get to a thing is now determined by how well I manage what God sends to me in time. Does it make sense? And see, what's so amazing about God is this, is that, well, what does he do when you miss the lesson? What does he do?
Brings it right back around.
That's why you see most of the things that God created, they do this. So that's why he would tell you in Scripture, said, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. In other words, stop moving, you missed it. Because it's going to come back around to you. He's going to make sure you got it. You now, but the problem is that when you miss it, now you're once again subject to now you got to wait on time. Because you someday where being distracted. But I got to realize, because if I'm waiting for it to come back around, that means he put it in the right time. But I missed it, so I got to wait till he looped that thing around again. Don't I? And so that's the beautiful thing. Time is restricted until you get purpose. Purpose says now you got to manage time. If I'm stuck with time, what time does? Time will mature me, but time matures me through trial and error.
Yeah.
That means I hopefully my loss, but I think of some losses and wins, and losses causing wounds and issues, and I'm having to run to God to get healed when I could be building, because I'm just subject to time. And so I begin to mature as for most of us, most of the time, as I get older. But the reality of it is, you could be in your 20s and understand your purpose and be much more mature than the person in their 50s and 60s.
Absolutely.
Because you got to, purpose of maturity, when you say the word mature, it's talking about growth and development. Growth and development. That's all maturity is, growth and development. I grow faster, I develop faster if it's aimed at something. Then that makes sense. If I know what I'm supposed to become, then I can focus on that, make time my weapon, and get there quicker. Does it make sense? But if I don't know what I am, I'm just tossed to and fro. I'm a different person every season. All you got to do is watch this. Watch kids. Or remember yourself, watch kids when they go through middle school. You try on personalities every week. Y'all remember? One day you're the cool kid, one day you're the smart kid, one day you're the gangster. You're trying to figure out where you're going to be from time to time, because I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to get accepted. And so you come through confused. Just confusion, which leaves them open to try and do all kind of craziness, because I don't have a standard in my life. If I know who I am, I know how to say no.
I know who I am.
If I don't know who I am, I don't know how to say no. Because I don't know what's wrong for me. Bojangles didn't know they made chicken. They might consider making you a pizza tonight. Does it make sense? And so Jesus asked her this. He says, so what does this have to do with Mama said out of wine? What does this have to do with us? And that was a legitimate question, because until he saw the vessels, because Jesus is living the life of a man to show you how we're going to live the life of human beings, that question seemed very irrelevant. But wasn't it? Well, what wasn't irrelevant were the vessels. And so if all this was about was him making wine, then I'm not using my gift on that. It ain't time for me to do that. But when he saw the vessels triggered his purpose. Because he was sent here that all men might be saved. And the vessels look like us, earthen vessels that were empty. And so all of a sudden time became irrelevant. Because purpose snatches you right into now. Now faith, that's what faith is for. I need you to move now. And so purpose says we can get started now, you gotta wait. But if you don't know who you are, ride with time. Y'all follow me with that? So he was good. Now, I'm not here to make wine. But if it will serve my purpose, I'll do it. So the last point I put in there, so don't be so quick to dismiss an opportunity because your purpose might be hidden in it. Don't be so quick to say that, no, I ain't going to that. I ain't coming to the conference. I ain't doing it. You have no idea that what God has done is set up some revelation for you in it. I'll go places, man, I'd have been there 3 days, and my message was told at the end in the last 5 minutes. And that's why I came. And I'm confident enough in God that if I feel the urge to be a part of something, I will go because I know I got to get what I can to get there. Somewhere in there, there's something for me.
Yes, sir.
There's something for me.
Yes, sir.
Because he's that mindful of me.
Right.
He's that mindful of me.
Yes, sir.
I believe that. I believe he loved him. He loved him some wonder. You believe that about you?
Yes, sir.
Comments, questions on that? And so, let's get this out here. But we have, I took you to 2 Corinthians 4:7, but we have, why the water pots would grab his attention, but we have this treasure in earthen vessels. The excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. I've got this stuff in me up under all of this dirt that won't come out unless I have a relationship with God. God put something in me and he wants it back. Now, these people that we have that are difficult, that God has called us to, they got treasure?
Yeah.
So if they uncover their treasure, would they be difficult? Wow.
Probably not.
Just let that simmer in the room. Because we want to skirt by them because they're difficult.
Absolutely.
But the reality of it is that they have incredible capacity.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nobody was investing in them like somebody did for you. Somebody dealt with your difficulty.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
Every Sunday.
Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
And so because we love God, we should want to give him the treasure back. And so I want to bring them to you. Whose responsibility is it for them to grow? Is it yours?
No.
Why are you adding that pressure? Because that's part of some of your excuses. Because the fact that you call them difficult is the fact that you think you got to fix them.
Well,
We call them difficult because we think we're now responsible. But at the same time, we say, is there anything too hard for them? I just need to get them in his presence. Because that's what happened to me. Stuff started to happen to me that I couldn't explain just in the presence of God.
Amen. Amen.
Just the enveloping love of God, the acceptance of God began to make me think certain ways and feel certain ways that I couldn't put words to. I just wanted to get back to that feeling. I just want to get back to that place of safety. Me and all my junk. And it wasn't the people loved me, but the change had to come from God. But I gotta warn you, that third bullet point, the deterrent, the thing that keeps you from doing is that the vessel has become hardened by life. Ezekiel 36:26, he got this heart of stone. This whole trial and error thing that time has subjected us to, not knowing has subjected us to, makes you take on this whole idea, I gotta protect myself, right? How many of you can admit that you're hard in places you shouldn't be? You have some difficulties, and how many can admit that you can actually see where it's hurting you now? I'm jacking up needed relationships. So are you admitting you different? Hmm. Look at that. You calling somebody else different. I got some places that where I need to be reached, and I'm making it difficult for somebody to get there.
I know, just for you to say that, I know a lot of y'all know me just but I have been drawn here since I came to that conference. And tonight, I left work early and I went home. I fell asleep, but I woke up to some news that really had me disturbed. And I was like, this is why I'm by myself. I go home and I don't want to be around people because you know, when you feel like you're overloaded, like everybody depends on you and you know you have a calling. They know you have a calling, so they want to call you. So, you know, and you just want to fade away.
Yes.
And it seems that everywhere I go, I even tried to change my last name at an early age because I wanted to fade away. But I'm not gonna fade away because I am who I am, and I'm gonna always be that person. And the fact that this bullet point right here, it hits home with me because I have 2 boys, and they're hard. And I raised them by myself, and I always used to say, I'm raising boys, not girls. You gotta be tough. I want you to have a woman because you want one, not because you need one. And as I'm sitting here and you're ministering to me, my son has an 8-month-old baby and another baby on the way. And he's telling me I'm leaving her the next time because, you know, he's angry. So he's frustrated. And this word right here, I just had to text him and say, don't give up, walk. Don't fight, walk. So it's just, we're so hard at times that we don't understand that we hearten everything around us.
Yes.
That it doesn't just affect us, it affects our compound. Because he entrusted us with the vineyard, and we don't really understand sometimes how large that vineyard is.
Because we're subject to the principle that we can only reproduce after our own kind.
Yeah.
So I can only teach you what I know.
Yeah.
And the sad part about it, well, I don't know, well, it's sad, but it's also gracious at the same time. It's amazing how God makes both of those things in there, is that a lot of times we don't see ourselves until we reproduce ourselves into. Because I'm good. Something wrong with y'all. Until my child act like me.
Yes.
I'm like, after I get through trying to beat me out of them, I begin to realize,
Man. Oh, dang.
and then they get old, sometimes they get old enough to tell you.
Right.
I'm just acting like you. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, and I have 2 of them. I don't have girls, so I have 2 of them. I have 2 of me.
But I can even understand, but everybody in here can understand how you got there.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because my mama, all you gotta do is hug my mama and know how hard my mama is. Mama will knock every little piece of phlegm loose in your back. Tough, hard. And now she's at the age where she's being nurtured. And the timing has been great. But nonetheless, she was a mother trying to raise a young boy, absent of a father, trying to make sure I wasn't a punk.
And I didn't.
I don't want you to pick up feminine
I
characteristics.
didn't do that. I didn't like try to gender judge them. I just wanted them to not be in a situation where they were dependent on other people.
Right.
I wanted them to be in the midst of people because they cared about them, not because they wanted something from them. Because I had watched my other nieces and nephews that were older than them felt that they were entitled.
Right.
And that the world
Right.
owed them something and they were lost. And I just didn't want my kids to be lost in a society that did not care anything about them.
And I think, and I feel you completely now. And I think one of the flaws we've made, that was made to us and we passed it on because we never was challenged on it. We spend an incredible amount of time teaching one another what not to be.
My God. My God.
And God is trying to teach you what to be. You know, so we know what not to do, we just don't know what to do.
Jesus.
Yes, sir.
Man.
So we know how to be guarded. We know how to be guarded with people, but we don't know how to love them. But I've got this God thing in me
Jesus.
that says, man, because I don't care how hard you act, you want somebody to love you.
Right.
Absolutely, sir.
But then you start learning that relationship requires reciprocity. So I don't even know how to give to you because I'm too guarded. And I thought I was protecting myself from people, but I was building a prison for myself. So I'm over here on the inside of my own prison of my own making lonely. And so now here you come and God says, listen, you not only gotta love them, you gotta love your enemies. Whoa. I gotta make myself touchable to even those who ain't gonna touch me right. I don't know about that, Jesus. And so this whole change is difficult, but I also understand how we got there. Because I'm trying to survive. And in my survival thinking, I think I'm just protecting you from my scars. So I teach you how not to get my scars, but I don't teach you how to get your life. And if I get my life, then my scars are worth it.
Jesus.
You're not going to get this life without scars.
Absolutely, sir.
So if I'm so busy trying to avoid it, you posted something on Instagram, Tina, I saw it. You reposted something about comfort zones. He said,
Comfort zones make your world smaller.
He said, comfort zones don't make your world safe. They make your world small. And what hit me about that is that even though my world's small, you can still get in the small world and hurt me.
So true.
I just ain't got nowhere to run
Small,
from.
sir. Small, sir.
We got confined quarters, but you still can get in.
Ouch.
And so the reality of it is, if I've got to take some stripes, I'm going to be hit while I'm going forward.
Yes, sir.
And Jesus told us that. He said, listen, you got to suffer to get there. Didn't he? But he's promising you that it'll be worth it. So I'm going to cause some separation, cause some problems. I'm going to cause some relational friction. Folks ain't going to get it. It's not the folks that don't get it, but they're the folks that still think that everybody should stay in a small box, but you feel bigger than the box.
Yes, sir.
So y'all mad at me because I'm going to get out of the box. You're not mad at me because the truth be told, you're going to catch more flack from people not because you do wrong, but because you want to be big.
Absolutely.
It ain't about, doing wrong, they'll make excuses for you. They'll hide your secret, cover it up for you, be your co-conspirator, go there with you, drop you off, won't tell nobody they left you there, didn't see you there.
Say that part.
But when you want to be big, nah, you ain't invited to the cookout.
You look mad, you big man.
There she is. Super duper evangelist apostle, apostate. And you still you. You still want to laugh. You still want to play a good hand of spades. You still want to do all of that. But I just know I got some stuff I got to get done, and I'm excited about it. Y'all pouring water on my excitement.
Yes.
And the temptation is the fake smallness,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
just so you let me be around you. But that converts itself to bitterness.
Right. That's
Now
good.
I'm with you, and I'm looking at you like,
What
yeah, that was just, you can't say a word, you wave your hand. Sean,
So a situation like that,
why you ain't tell me it was this late?
a situation like that, when you're talking about being around the different family members, is that a situation where you tell yourself, I'm gonna let go and let God, and just let them be in their place, and then, I pray for them, but I'm gonna let go and let God, versus me trying to just overly try to bring them into the righteousness side, I guess.
Well,
To me, it's like they choose to be where they are, and they don't want to come out of where they are.
sometimes, man, let me give you my experience. What I've had to grow into is that when I decided to be this person, and the feathers that I ruffled in my own family, particularly my cousins and stuff in my own age group, what I had to learn to do is be true to me. Don't try to be what they needed me to be, which which meant I had to be okay with their rejection from time to time. But what I'm learning now at 48 is that them same ones who were clowning me in my 30s now circling around going, "Yo, cuz."
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
as I said at the beginning of this, the thing that's going to help us, Sean, is that I got to be consistent. My change was real.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I'm picturing one cousin in my mind right now, because he's like, man, don't give me no Bible stuff. Don't give me, and I'm watching him. Because I had to leave him in the hands of life
That's right. Yeah.
while he could still watch me.
That's right.
And that I never changed up on him when he needed me. But what I gave him was all I got.
Yes, sir.
And we ain't gonna do nothing crazy. They ain't gonna take you nowhere crazy. Gonna talk about it over. We're gonna sit down and talk about it. We're gonna figure out your finance, what you need me to do. When we write a reference letter for you to go somewhere and get your job, I'll do all of that. Because I still believe in you. But we ain't gonna do nothing crazy.
That's right.
And so now I'm watching him just hit my inbox. Just got just simple message like the other night. Hey, cuz, I love you. That's what he sent to me. All right. And so it's tearing it down. But the thing is for us is that it's hard for us because now I got to live amongst these hard people who don't seemingly, they're not really treating me right. And so that's why I tell God, thank you for my church.
Sir? Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I get to go hang out with some people
Yes.
who crazy like me,
Yes.
who want to be big like me,
Thank you,
who
God.
I can talk to and they ain't looking at me crazy.
Thank you, God.
I go, man, I heard the Lord.
Yes.
Thank you,
Damn,
God.
Family must. Here we go. But the seats one.
Yes, sir.
What he said? Oh man, he said the same thing. And you probably got somebody like that.
That's right, sir.
And so it makes sense when God says, do not forsake your assembling together. Because if I ain't got some people who feel what I feel, I'm going to eventually become what they need me to be. It still ain't good for me to be alone. But if I got y'all make me dust myself off and I'm ready for Monday again. Sunday roll back around, I might be dragging that leg in. Because what I had to deal with. But man, thank God for my people, my tribe, my folk,
Sir.
who want to worship God with me.
Sir.
And so and see, I get worried when folk leave because not because we're so special. It's like I'm looking at you like, who you got? Why who you got? You may not like everything we do, but who you got? We still growing. I know. Somebody hurt your little feelings last week, but who you got? Go on out there if you want. Come on back in here and make up with everybody and just give them a chance to tell you they're sorry. They going through stuff just like you. You acted crazy last month. You just forgot. But you need some folk who get you. We still get you when we think you acting up. We rolling our eyes in Jesus' name. Here you come again. But you want us. It's family. Like we look at you like, I'm so mad at you. But ain't nobody else. Ain't nobody else gonna mess with you. You put up the bad signal, we coming. We coming. Somebody say we don't, they lying. We coming. We come to look out for you. And while we there with you, we still standing behind you going, that was real ignorant what you did last night, but I'm here. Don't we? We some blunt little jokers like, I'm here, you little crazy.
Right.
Still want my $20. All right, come on, let's stay in. I gotta get y'all about here. Sorry for taking so long tonight. I didn't realize the time.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank y'all. That last little thing, water pots for ceremonial cleansing is equal to lost people who were used to collect the waste of others. They're difficult because of what they were given. They're difficult because of what was poured into them. And see, here's the principle we got to get out of this. Watch this. If they became that because of what was poured into them, what can they become if you start pouring? All that's proven is that pouring works. pouring works. If you grab a glass, I never thought about this tonight. If you take a glass and it's got dirty water, and then you take an endless supply of clean water and just pour it in the glass, what eventually happens to the dirty water? The clean water, but you can't just hit it with a little something. Hit it with a little something, it becomes contaminated again all over again. There has to be a constant flow. Not just for them, but for you. So whenever you decide, anybody ever left church for an extended period of time? For whatever reason? What condition were you in when you came back? Did you get better while you were out there? Did you get better? Huh? Right. And the latter state. Because that's what Jesus taught him. He said, listen, he says, it's better that you had never known me than to know me and walk away. Because when you go back out, the enemy intensifies. Because I gotta get you so deep in this that shame keeps you from going back. Not that God is not able, not that the people don't love you and miss you. You so shameful of yourself. The day you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror, you're like, please, I ain't going to nobody's church. Father, thank you. In Jesus' name. Amen. Leave the offering on the stage.